Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. My name is Sally Poole. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Albany, Oregon. Welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make this pretty card with this new silhouette stamp set called Prairie Grass. These cards like this are super easy to make. You can make a bunch of them in a short amount of time. I do want to mention I just looked this up before I started recording, and unfortunately it is currently unavailable already. It is scheduled to be back in stock the week of August 11th, so that's not too far away. It's got some really nice sentiments. And for this video, I'm gonna kind of hone in on beginners. So I will be doing die cutting, and I'm gonna use my trimmer and just show the new card makers kind of how to go through this process to get this done. I know a lot of times we leave a lot of those pieces out, and hopefully they're not all left scratching their heads. So this is what we're going to need to make this card. Not very much. You can either grab a screenshot of this, or as always, I will have a PDF located below this video in the description box. And it looks like, I'm going to see if I can straighten this a little bit. Looks like I'm out of whack. Doesn't want to stay. That might be a little bit better. Okay, so I think the first thing we'll do, let me grab the pack of paper. This is how Stampin' Up! Sells their cardstock. This is a pack of 24 sheets of Summer Splash, which is what we're going to use, and they are 8.5 by 11. So you can, if you're going to do an A2 size card, you can get 2 card bases out of one 8.5 by 11 sheet. And I am going to show you how to cut this. You can do it one of two ways. I'm going to cut this at 5.5 on, I guess I should put it in the camera, on the long side, the 11-inch side. I'm going to go to the 5.5-inch mark on my trimmer. And the light blade is for scoring. That just puts a little dent in the cardstock where you can fold it easier. This dark blade is for cutting. So we're just going to cut that right in half. So now I have got 2 A2 card bases. You can also, if you want to, instead of having it open this way where the fold would be on top, you can cut it at 4.25. So you get a tall, skinny one, and then you would actually score this at 5.5. And this isn't cardstock, so I'm not going to cut it. So that is all we need our trimmer for. So the next thing we're going to do, let me set one of these aside. I'm going to bring in my die cutting and emboss machine, and we are going to make a little frame to go around our card front so that we can blend these inks onto the front. And I am going to take a piece of 4" by 5 1/4. This is thick basic white cardstock. All of the other cards I've made so far, I actually used paper that I get from Staples, and I believe it's 110 pounds. So the die that I used on this card is from the Deckled Rectangle set, and I used the 3rd die from the largest. So let me take my plates off of here. And I'm just going to, I've got my base plate. I've got a number 2. I'm going to take a number 3 plate, my cardstock, and my die, and I'm just going to center this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Can't get it to hold still. And then I'm going to take a second plate number 3 and put it over the top of that. And then we'll just run it through. I just knocked all my ink pads everywhere. Sometimes it makes the little crackly poppy noises, but that's normal and it's okay. So let's take our paper out of here, and you can see that that's nicely cut that out. Save this. You might want to use it for something else later. So here's our little, what I'm going to call a template. Let's set all these aside. And now I am going to, I'm going to set this here for a minute so you can see it. I'm going to grab my chair. And I am going to take, for this card, and I have not used these colors together yet, so it's a gamble. And it really is fun to grab 3 different colors and see what they look like. You could use 2 if you want. Of course, you could use 1. And you could use 4 if you want. I haven't tried that yet. So let's tape our template frame to, this is going to be our card front. This is a regular piece of basic white, 4" by 5 1/4. So I am going to take some of this Post-it note tape. It's 1 inch wide, and I'm going to take off 4 little pieces that are maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch. Doesn't matter. And I just like to stick them on the edge of my ink pad. So we're going to make sure these are lined up nicely. And I'm going to take one of these little Post-it stickies and tape these 2 pieces together at the top. And I'm going to tape them at the bottom and then on each side. You could also use washi tape. You might want to take some of the sticky off by tapping it on your skin. It'll pick up a little bit of the oil. That way it won't be so hard to get off of here. It's not too important because your tape is on the back of your card front. So I'm going to grab a scrap paper because I'm gonna put ink all over it. So let's start with Daffodil Delight. I'm gonna open up my ink pad, grab my blending brush. You can see it's well loved. I'm gonna get some, let me make sure we're in the camera, barely. I'm gonna get some ink on my brush, rub some of it off, and then I'm gonna start, you never wanna start right on the piece that you're doing because you might get a big blob like this over here. So you always wanna come in from one of the sides or the top, and I do it in little circle swirling motion. And you can switch directions of your swirls. Pick up some more ink. You probably have to do this multiple times. And I'm not pushing really hard. So just go around and around. Doesn't all have to be the same exact shade. I don't tend to make a straight line across. I think if you do something other than that, it gives a little more visual interest to the card. So that looks good. Let's close this one up and grab our Flirty Flamingo. One of my favorite colors ever. So same process, get some ink on our brush, take the excess off, go in from the side, gently, little swirls. And you might notice that the ink looks kind of, I don't know, splotchy maybe. I don't know if that's the right word. When you originally put it down, it will smooth out and kind of blend together. And when you are blending this with your brush, you can go up into the next color and you'll get a mix of these two colors. So that's kind of cool. Always fun to see what you end up with. And I think, this is my opinion, I always think that these look where I want them, but sometimes when it sets and dries, it does look a little bit lighter and smoother. So you might just have to play around with that. So the next color I'm going to use is Summer Splash, which might be kind of crazy. We'll just have to see. This card I used Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Highland Heather. And then I used Highland Heather for the card base. So let's grab our Summer Splash and a different brush. I do keep the color families separate. I only use them on one brush, and depending on the intensity of the color, I might have two different brushes for my greens. So let's take this Summer Splash, come in from the side, swirling around in our little circles. Pick up some more ink. Can you see what that does over here where it gives the big splotchy business? We don't want that on our card. And again, I am not pressing very hard. That's why I am going over it multiple times with ink. So this has kind of an interesting blue from the Summer Splash and the Flirty Flamingo. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's set those aside. Close that up. And then I'm going to flip this over and undo all my little Post-it note pieces. And you can use this little template frame many, many times. So don't just use it once and throw it away. Okay, let's flip this over so we don't saturate ink into things. And I'm gonna take my card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5. Let me go back to one of the ones that I just cut. And this is one of my pet peeves. When you cut this, if you feel underneath, you're gonna feel a kind of an edge sticking down from the cutting blade. I always like to flip my paper over, take my little bone folder and press that little edge out. And then you're going to just take your card base, fold it so these right edges line up, fold that down, press down on it with your bone folder, give that a good press, and then you've got your card base. So let's take our card base. I've already folded it, but I'll give it another little crease here. Set that aside. Take our 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of basic black, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I guess we need to stamp this first. Let me grab I've got my Tim Holtz platform, which is my favorite actually, but you can't get it anymore because I have another project in my Stamparatus, which you can't get anymore either. So I'm going to take this blended piece, put it on my stamping platform. If you don't have a platform, you can certainly put the stamp on a clear block and stamp it on your project. I just happened to be doing multiples of these cards, which is my normal. So I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair Nocturne black ink, which is my favorite black ink for solid images and sentiments. It's just a very black, crisp black ink. So let's give this a press. And if you have a platform and you stamp an image and it's not quite transferred as much ink as you want, you can stamp it again knowing that it's going to stamp in the same place. I am going to wipe this ink off really quick. Another thing that I'll mention while I'm doing this, Stampin' Up! Is going to have a sale coming up. It's called an In Color sale, and it's 15% off of, I guess, any of the products that have any of the in colors in them. So I'm assuming you can get the inks probably the Stampin' blends, any of the papers, probably gems. So that will be August 5th through the 31st. So that'll be fun to see what's included in that sale. So let's look forward to that. I'm going to go set this aside. Now I am going to just take some my tape runner. You can use glue if you want. And we'll just go around the edges. Put one little dot in the middle, and I'm going to stand up so I make sure to get this straight. So I'm going to hover over the basic black. I've got my fingers underneath the card front, and I'm not pressing it down. I'm looking to see that all these margins of black are about the same size. So now let's flip that over. Put some more tape on the basic black. And then we'll attach it to our Summer Splash card base. I did use the same sentiment on all the cards I made, sending the healing power of love. I love that. And these will be great to send to people at church. I haven't done anything with these other two prairie grass stamps. I will make some more with the "You're Not Alone, I'm Here for You" sentiment. I really like that. So that is our card. One more thing, and I hardly ever do this on the video, and I'm not going to today because I didn't cut a piece of cardstock. I always put a piece of basic white cardstock on the inside, and I cut it at 4 inches by 5 1/4. So you have a nice white space to write on. And I think I'm going to add some, let's see what they're called, matte black dots. These are retired. I didn't put any dots on my other cards, but I thought I would try this and see what it looks like. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And I think, I don't know, we'll just kind of have to scatter them around. I don't want that to go in a line. So let's drop that one down a little bit. And then I'm ending up in a line. I think I'll just put one right here. Maybe that anchors it a little bit better. Okay, so that is that card. I actually think that's pretty easy. I think if you are new to card making, this is something you can do, and it won't give you a whole lot of trouble. So let's take a look at the other cards I've done. So this was Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Summer Splash. Our sample was Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Highland Heather. And then I have a Flirty Flamingo, Highland Heather, and Balmy Blue. I'm probably going to run out of room here. And I did put Highland Heather on both of those for the card base. I should have switched it up. This one is Highland Heather, Balmy Blue, and Fresh Freesia. And if you'll notice, I used a different die for my little template. And I used a die from a really old set called Ovals Collection. And it's the largest solid die in the set. So those are kind of fun, and I think the ovals are a nice look. So the next one is Highland Heather, Balmy Blue, and Pretty in Pink. Not very good at lining these up, obviously. Hopefully you can see that. And then I have kind of a tropical one, Strawberry Slush, Daffodil Delight, and Summer Splash. And then the last one is Pool Party, Lost Lagoon, and Coastal Cabana is what I originally did. But the colors are all so close that you really couldn't tell the difference where one ended and the other one began. So I actually went over the center part of it with Balmy Blue, and I think that saved it. So those are the ones that I've done so far. I might look through my dies and see if there's something else large enough that would make a good template for this process. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a favorite. I'm not sure which one's my favorite. Couldn't even tell you right now. So anyway, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you ever have any questions, you can just leave it in the comment. I do read them. I will get back to you. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. If you're getting anything out of them, please hit the like button, give me the thumbs up. Share my videos with your friends and family. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. It does help my channel grow. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.